Hello, I'm Babak Pazdar reporting from the Daily Security Briefing Security Information Center. Welcome to Week 51, December 2006 of the DSB Week in Review. This week brings us vulnerabilities in browsers, Sun, Microsoft, Mozilla, McAfee, Yahoo, OpenOffice, and Clam. Multiple web browsers have been identified to be prone to vulnerabilities in handling international domain names. An attacker may leverage this to provide bogus status information for various aspects of a connection, including that of SSL certificates. Sun Java is susceptible to a series of high-severity vulnerabilities that can lead to security bypass conditions and system compromise. And now for some quick hit points. Microsoft Outlook contains a medium-severity denial-of-service vulnerability. Mozilla Firefox is susceptible to multiple high-severity information disclosure vulnerabilities. Jakub Mach has reported a high-severity vulnerability in McAfee virus scan, which can be exploited to compromise the system. Yahoo IM has an unspecified high-severity vulnerability that can lead to system compromise. OpenOffice is susceptible to a remotely exploitable high-severity vulnerability that can lead to denial of service and arbitrary code execution. Finally, Clam AV contains a high-severity remote denial of service vulnerability. This week's activity maintains our threat index of the week at elevated. This week I discussed the details of a large-scale and complex firewall migration we engaged in for a major wireless carrier. The client was several weeks from their change freeze date that represented their busiest time of the year. Their infrastructure was supported by a dozen checkpoint firewalls running on the Nokia platform. These devices were already operating at over 50% capacity. However, between the busy holiday season and the new mobile phone applications being introduced, the carrier's network utilization was forecasted to more than double. These applications were to be a great source of revenue for the carrier, offering capabilities such as phone-to-phone or email, pictures, and videos. The client had opted to switch to NetScreen NS5200 firewalls that offered them significant performance benefits. 3 pairs of redundant NetScreens would replace the dozen or so checkpoint boxes the client had in place, improving performance, but also significantly simplifying management and network architecture. My team was challenged to overcome the technical differences between these two systems and implement a full solution in the few weeks left before the change freeze. First, we had to convert a massive policy set that consisted of over 3,500 rules the client used to control access to their environment. We successfully converted object information consisting of source, destination, and service objects and eliminated duplications. We then set out to address the inherently disparate methods the two systems use to deal with policy actions, anti-spoofing, and network address translation. The approach we used eventually laid the foundation for the methodology and the tools that even Juniper themselves rely on for migration from Checkpoint to NetScreen. With the policy conversion complete, we now focused on implementation at the client data center sites. These were dispersed throughout the country. With a solid policy as the foundation, the implementation and the migration went well, and the client was able to meet the change freeze date as well as their requirement for increased capacity. Find out more about this implementation on my blog called Case Study, a Major Enterprise Firewall Migration. You can find it in the blog section of the dailysecuritybriefing.com site. And now for this week's anonymous poll. Are you considering a major rebranding of your security technology for 2007? Yes? Somewhat? No? Make your vote count on the dailysecuritybriefing.com website. In response to last week's poll, is your organization considering a network visibility and behavior tool? 29.4% said yes, and 70.6% said no. That's it for this week's DSB Week in Review. I'm Babak Pazdar, and remember that successful implementations invariably involve the collaboration of many minds.